The Ritter International LLC is actually my dad's business, but I was born in Belgium, so I guess that counts. And the Ritter's my last name, so I'm kind of the Ritter International. I lived in Houston for about 20 years now, and it's been great. The people, I love the hospitality, the friendliness of the people, and the opportunity that you can get here in this country. And we've done some great things over the past 2 years. Had the chance to work with many Houstonians and with many great companies. Let's talk about AI as the gateway to your business. Now, when you think about gateway to your business, what do you think about? Anyone? What is the gateway to your business? Well, it changes over time. Now, if you go back all the way, it, right? It is, well, it's a physical store, or maybe it's some cave where you have some extra meat. Um, but the 1980s is pretty funny. Actually, the yellow pages go back to the late 1800s. Um, and in one version of this presentation, I wanted to put a picture there of the yellow page book. And so I didn't want to pay for royalties, so I went to Unsplash. I couldn't find a picture of the yellow page book. Then I went to Pexels. I couldn't find one there either. Then I'm like, okay, let me go to an AI image generator. It gave me like a yellow notepad or something. It was like, am I getting that old? Yeah, you had to go into a stock photography website to go find a picture of that. But I remember there was a time that if you were not in the yellow page book, well, nobody would find you. Right? Your business, does it really exist? And so, well, with websites, that kind of has evolved, right? If you have no website today, are you really in business? And a fun story is like, I have been doing machine learning and AI for a while. And back in the day when people ask me, what do you do? When you say like, oh, machine learning, it's like, oh, so interesting. And now you say, like, what do you do? Like, oh, AI. It's like, oh, okay. What? It's like the same thing with websites. Like, what are you doing? Oh, I have a company on the internet. Okay, great. What do you do? It's a non-answer because everybody is on the internet. Everybody has a website. If you don't have a website, are you really in business, right? And so, yeah, some people ask you, you have no Facebook profile or something. Are you really a person, or are you just some, I don't know, deep fake? Now, we have seen the gateway to the business evolve over time, and so it's important for businesses to be found if you want to have a presence, because it's how people find you, right? Um, and the medium for that has changed over time as well. So if you look at history, right, there's technological innovations like you need a door to have a brick and mortar store, but then you also need to have a phone to be able to be in the yellow pages, and you need to have the internet to have a website. And so there are technological milestones that happen that change how you do business, how people can find you. And here today, 2023, we have such an innovation, a technological innovation that is becoming so widespread that it will change completely what you think about is the gateway to your business in a few years from now. So just like you look back at the phone book and be like, well, I can't find a picture of that. Maybe you'll think about the same way about your current gateway to your business in a few years. You look back and it's like, hey, is that how we used to do business? So interesting, right? So let's talk about that a little bit more, what that can look like in the future. So we're really talking about Web 1, Web 2, Web 3. Web 1 was like the static web. You had a static page with some content on your site. And then Web 2 made everything dynamic. I have a fun story about that. When I got out of university in 2004, I got my first job at a marketing company in Belgium in the lovely city of Ghent. And the day before, I went to the computer store to get a book on a new thing called Ajax. And Ajax is a little JavaScript technology that allows you to make dynamic server-side calls so that you can find out and make something more dynamic or custom for the user. And so I got this book called Ajax Blueprint, and it had lots of beautiful illustrations and examples in it. It made it very simple, kind of like a For Dummies type of book. So the very next day, I went to an interview straight out of university, my first job interview ever. And I told this would-be my first employer, I told him, I'm the #1 expert in Belgium on Ajax, because the book had just come out. That's probably the only one who knew what it even was. But what was so exciting about this is Web 2 changed the way that the internet works. It changes how we do business, and it unlocked things like social media, but also unlocked things like user-generated content, e-commerce, and even like the way that we use the web today that we take for granted. The point I'm trying to make is that when technological innovation happens, it unlocks a world of new opportunities, and it can change sometimes in a fundamental way. We have not seen the web change so much since I first got my job at that marketing company. 2023 is all Web 2 innovation all over again. But this time, it is going to be unlocked with the power of artificial intelligence, and it is going to change more fundamentally than even Web 2 changed the web fundamentally from Web 1. And it is all powered by this thing called large language models. Now, a large language model is this really well-trained AI that can do stuff like talk to you. By a few months ago, I might have to ask who in the audience has heard of ChatGPT. I don't have to do that anymore. Everybody knows. All right. But it can actually, since GPT-4, it can also do something extra, which is a big difference. It actually has the ability to recognize when and how to use tools to achieve an outcome. So what do you do when you don't know how to do something, right? Maybe there are some people in the audience who recently had to, I don't know, fix a leak in a bathroom or something, right? What do? You go to YouTube. You go learn, figure it out, right? Well, the same thing is AI is capable of doing today. It is able to go to the internet and go find a solution and then solve that problem. And so when human beings had the wheel, right? Then we had interconnected civilizations, right? When we had the printing press, well, a few centuries later, we have a person on the moon. The ability to use tools changes everything. And so the ability for artificial intelligence, starting with GPT-4, which is just like, what, a month and a half old? It's barely new, right? The ability to use tools changes everything. And this is what is powering this innovation. So in simple terms, what is changing is that right now you're really accessing the web through a browser, right? We've had the browser wars, and like Google Chrome came on top with the biggest market share. And it made the job a little bit easier for web developers, right? Chromium. We used to have to support like 5 different browsers. Now we can simplify that a bit. But very soon, the way that we're going to interact with customers, with data, with utilities is going to be through your personal AI assistant. Now, maybe your preference of AI assistant will be different, but every AI assistant will essentially browse the web for you and just give you the answer. It will save you a lot of time. Let's go through a few of these examples. But it will follow you around, just like R2-D2, right? Or what is it, BB-8 in the new Star Wars? It's like a handy assistant that follows you around. And it's actually agnostic of where you're using it. It can be like Star Trek, like the Star Trek communicator. It can be right here, or it can be in your ear, or it can be on your wrist. It can be on your computer. It can even be there in the metaverse. And so that's really important to know. It is everywhere, which means that you need to be there. So if you think about the web browser today, the website as the gateway to your business, this AI assistant is going to be the gateway. Remember the first example of physical stores? We had a door. the door that people walk through to find you online will be that AI assistant and search engines with it. So, well, right now, if you wanted to know, well, I had iPhone up here. I actually have a Samsung phone, and I heard there's a few fanboys of Samsung in the audience. But if you wanted to find out what the new model does compared to your model that's perhaps a few years old, well, maybe you'll find a web page online that says, here's what's new compared to last year's model. Is there any reporter ever who just writes that article and says, here's what's new compared to the model of 4 years ago? Nobody? Yeah, we don't do that, do we? So if you want to know what's new, you have to go and search the website, the archive. You have to go and find multiple pages. Sounds like a lot of work to you? Well, it sounds like a lot of work to me too. Now, what will be different? Well, in the future, the AI assistant will do all that work. The AI assistant will go and research all that information from the company that you trust. And then we'll just give you the answer. Well, the first scenario, if we're going to look back at that a few years from now, we're going to say, well, remember the time when we had to go and browse all these web pages to go and get our answers? Remember what a terrible user experience that was? Well, I remember walking around with like my mobile phone in the 90s. I thought it was cool, right? Well, my kids don't think that's so cool. So, so Web3, if we're looking at this here, what enables this experience is really the decision-making capacity that we talked about earlier. The ability for AI to solve problems and know who to talk to solve problems. This is a difference, an order of magnitude difference for marketing you cannot imagine. So this is a really cool example. So I don't have a Tesla yet. Maybe some other car that will be just as cool one day. But imagine I'm sitting in my sofa or something, or I'm getting ready for work, and I want to know, is my car charged yet? My assistant can go and talk to Tesla.com, who is connected to my car, and answer that question. And it says, yeah, your car is ready, your car is charged. And I say, okay, like, pull it up. Okay, so the assistant goes to Tesla.com and says, okay, put the car out on the driveway. But wait, Tesla response, can't do it. There's an obstacle. Oh, you have a garage door. Oops. Sorry, malfunction, can't help. No. It can now go and figure out that you have a garage door opener. It can talk to Chamberlain, for example. And the AI assistant can go ask the garage door, can you please open? And when it is open, it can go and ask Tesla to pull your car out. And all you did is like, get my car ready. And the assistant a little bit later says, yep, your car's ready, go ahead, you're ready to go. So my friend in the audiovisual department, the timer is not going. And so I really don't know how much time I have. If you can adjust that for me, that would be great. Thank you for that. So that's a really exciting future. And so what enables this future is that assistants really need to be able to use these websites. Now imagine that the assistant had to go to a website like The Verge to know everything about the new phone, and then go and browse the search index and go and index every page every time you asked it a question. Well, that would be a very slow experience. It reminds me of my hometown in Bruges, this medieval town. And when you walk there, you're going to see these buildings with these itty-bitty doors. They're like this tall. And I'm like, if I lived in that time, I'd be a giant. Like I couldn't fit through it. And this is kind of what we're talking about the web here. To unlock these kind of experiences, we need to upgrade our gateway to our business. We need to be accessible for these models, right? So that they can fit through the door. And so this is what we're talking about. Now, AI models, they love to interface directly with APIs, databases, but they would hate browsing. It's just too clumsy, too slow. And so in the future, we are going to have your website basically have to serve both humans and AI assistants. Your web traffic now is mostly coming from humans browsing your site, interacting with your brand. But the fact is that in the future, people are going to interact with their AI assistants. And you need to make sure that those AI assistants can talk to your brand. Otherwise, you'll be left out. And eventually, those AI assistants will even be able to generate web pages for them based on what your brand told them. This is what you can share. This is what I call dynamic server-side generation, right? We have dynamic server-side rendering as a concept right now for websites, but it can be generated. So in the example of the iPhone, well, maybe I had the question, what does the new model do compared to my old one? Now it can generate a page with just that information. I don't have to go and browse multiple pages and Notepad, compare the differences. Cool, right? So the future of search engines is actually federated. And this is an important takeaway. Because today, search engines need to go and index the web, which means they have to read every web page, crawl every web page. And let's be real, you've all used this AI to go and generate some content, right? It's cool, right? Until you realize that that means 1,000 times more content on the internet, and you think that you want to be a fly on the wall in the Google boardroom when somebody says, we need 1,000 times more data centers because there's 1,000 times more content to index. Oh, yeah, who's going to approve that budget? So here's the thing. The web is changing, and the gateway to your businesses is changing as well. In the next 4 years, 60% of what we call like web traffic is going to shift. It's not going to go away. It's just going to transform. Like radio and podcasts are still around, right? Even though we have YouTube. It's going to shift to interactions with the AI assistant. But search engines will also evolve, and they will start using these, what I call AI interfaces, right? Your website serving up an API to an AI. That's an AI interface. AII. I thought it'd be cool to label that A2. I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. Working on it. But this has already started. So ChatGPT has released plugins. And plugins, the specifications for plugin it's just like a month old. This is all pretty new. But when I got the specifications on day one, the coolest thing about this was that they didn't close it down. You control it. It's on your website. It lives in a subfolder. Just like you have a sitemap to say where your pages are, you have a manifest file that tells the AI what your site can offer the AI assistant. So if you want to know what a website can do as an AI assistant, just read the manifest file and you know what it is. But unlike the app stores of yore, like the ones that you have on your phone, where they control what gets published and not, you publish your own website. You own it. You say what information you want on there. You control what gets published and so forth. Look, these plugins are already bringing in a lot of users. The most popular plugins in the popular section are bringing in 75,000 users a day. There's already some really cool plugins in there. And one of these is mine. It was one of the first 40 plugins that was published in the App Store. And I can tell you, it is really exciting. But it gets better. This is breaking news. Yesterday, let's just say in the last 48 hours, Microsoft announced that they're making these AI assistants standard in all Windows 11 installations. That means every computer, non-Apple and Linux, we have to wait for Apple's developer conference, just a little bit more. But every computer is going to have that AI assistant built in right there. And it's going to be more than just write a tweet or just answer some trivia question. It's going to pull up your car. It's going to organize your file system. It's going to rearrange your calendar. It's going to automate your entire marketing campaign to an extent. You need humans. You need these wonderful agencies here to help you navigate this. But this is coming, and the big kicker is they said that it will have built-in support for ChatGPT plugins. So what are you waiting for? How many billion users are using these technologies? Is your brand ready for the new gateway of business? Will you be a market leader? Today, with this information, you can start formulating a plan around this, and this will help you a lot. Now, Google had a code red when all this happened. And they have wasted no time announcing that they are releasing a brand new search experience. Can anyone guess? Well, it's all about these large language models, and it's going to transform search. And so I have been in the search engine optimization world for a long time, built to SEO agencies that we sold, and worked with some of the largest companies in America on their SEO. And the thing that happened is when ChatGPT first was released, like in November, I had an existential crisis. Is this the end? Is this the end of content marketing? Is this the end of SEO? And I have been working on that question for several months. But this here is the answer. The answer is no. Your content marketing is not dead. No, SEO is not dead. It will evolve into Web3. And today I'll show you a few of these ways how that will look like. Apple and Amazon are also in the same boat. They've also already announced that they are going to make their assistants a lot smarter. And I think we can all agree they kind of suck, right now. Yeah, good for them. But interestingly, it's like actually we have to give Amazon the credit for skills, the Alexa skills, right? They're the first ones who thought about making these assistants more pluggable, so to speak. What OpenAI has done in their alliance with Microsoft is mind-blowing. They didn't want to own your brand. They didn't want to own it. They made it open. And so because of that one decision, that team of people who sat in a room and made the decision to make that open, to make that on your site, that decision changed the course of the web. And that will unlock this Web3. So search engine advertising, what will it look like? Well, it will look something like this. Let's say you want a hotel room here in Houston. Obviously, you'll pick this one. But when you buy a hotel room, well, you rent a hotel room, you have to typically buy it from a website. And you have to choose which website you'll buy it from. And that's the website that will make the commission and the money, right? So one of the ways Google will make money in the future is they're going to recommend you talk to a website which has an AI assistant enabled plugin, right, that is sponsored, along with some organic results. Well, today, I have to tell you, you can't buy those ads yet to put your business there. But what you can do is start working on making sure you have a plugin so you're found organically. And there's even going to be some SEO advice that I'll give you on how you can then optimize that plugin. I can say that because I actually have a plugin in the store with ChatGPT, and I've learned a thing or two. And the other way they're going to make money is, let's say you want to check out. Well, you're in the AI assistant, you're really in the groove, you're ready to buy, and then what? You're going to break that experience and make people go to a website checkout form? That's going to cost you conversions. Now, what you're going to do is just say, oh, just check out, put it on my card, put it on my tab. Google's like, got it. The AI assistant war is going to be brutal. okay? Because the company that ends up on top is going to get a piece of all the commerce that happens on the internet. Imagine owning that. You see how much money is at stake here? Apple, Amazon, Google, everyone's going to be Microsoft, they're all going to be fighting to be the AI assistant of your choice, because that is the gateway, the access, the doors to the internet. And whoever is the gatekeeper kind of controls, well, a large part of the world economy. And so this is how search engines will still make money. And this is why they're so eager to do this. There's a few other reasons. And is that the federated model, which means that the information is distributed around website, it saves money. There's actually a really good reason. I call this the economic theory of artificial intelligence. But a large model knows how long penguins keep their eggs, when they could use that same data on a specialized topic. In other words, the larger the model, the more it costs for them to run. And the more that large model needs to know everything, the more expensive it is for them. So search engines have every benefit and every reason to actually offload some specialized knowledge to your brand. Only you know if a table just came up free in your restaurant. Only you know what coupons and specials you're currently running. And if you're making a product or offer a service, only you know what that service includes. For Google and other search engines to have to keep up with that, that's just too much work. So they're going to use federated learning and models to save money. There's legal benefits too. Disney, well, maybe they have a thing or two they want to say about their new movie. Maybe they have some pictures that they don't want you to use an AI generator to put on a search engine. But if you ask the AI assistant, the plugin of Disney, hey, what do you want me to say about this topic? And then Disney has the chance to answer back. It solves a lot of legal problems because they're passing the bucket and say, well, you owned your brand. You said this is what you wanted to say about it. Now, it's a search engine's job to choose if they're going to trust you, but it's the brand's job to communicate what they want to communicate. So it offloads a lot of legal complexity with that. And then users don't leave the search engine. Well, the more time you spend on any website, the more likely they're able to engage with you or convert, right? Same thing is true for search engines. These AI assistants are like manna from heaven. It keeps people on the search engines for longer, which means more ad revenue. And then, well, it is just a way better user experience. And so these are some of the reasons why that will happen. So now we're going to look at the first ranking factors for AI assistants. I say the first because most people don't even have a plugin yet. And so this is useful for SEOs. It is not by no means the end all be all. But what is so interesting about these ranking factors is that a lot of the same concepts from SEO today translate to this new model. For example, we all do technical optimization. We make our sites faster. So a faster loading website translates in more sales, right? So you hire your SEO firm to help you make your site a lot faster. There's all kind of techniques, and you delve into the JavaScript and you optimize your tracking pixels and everything for loading, and minimize the round trips for IP packets. And we get really technical about these things and passionate about SEO in the SEO field. But the analogous situation is that if an AI assistant has two brands to choose to interact with, and one gives them the answers right away, and the other they have to wait on a long time, that means that one plugin or one brand will have a better experience, right? So you see, the SEO principles translate from technical SEO into this new field. The same thing is true for content relevance. Same thing is true for your expertise, authority, and trust. And I would say, as a company, really work on your brand. As an individual, work on your personal brand, because ultimately, the person or company that the AI assistants choose to interact with, Those are the ones who are going to make money. And so it's important that you make this a gateway to your business. You can get a head start. And we'll talk about, well, a beautiful thing here, a golden age for analytics. Now, before 2015 or so, there were a lot of websites who were running still on HTTP, and then the browser made it essential to use HTTPS, like an SSL certificate, and you would get like a red lock or something warning you that the site was not safe or not encrypted. So everybody started becoming HTTPS properly after the browsers made that mandatory. Well, marketers were a little bit sad, because before, our analytics would tell us exactly what keyword people typed in when they found our page. We could actually know the user intent before they came to our site, and that allowed us to do a lot of really good stuff for our users. Well, I can tell you today that the golden age for analytics is just beginning. This is not only we're going to get the keywords back, we're going to get the full user context, because the AI assistants are talking to us and they're telling us exactly what the user was asking for. And even better, we can log all that data. So as far as the plugin that I have in the store, there's so much data in there. People asking my plugin stuff that it doesn't do yet. And my competitors are not in the store. And I'm getting that data. What does that mean? It means that I can now start optimizing my plugin experience to give people exactly what they're looking for. How cool is that? So by the time they get there, I already got a head start. But when I talk to enterprise companies about bringing their car collision estimates, their pizza delivery, their jewelry shopping experience, and so forth, when I talk to enterprise companies about integrating this kind of technology in their site, give them a head start, what they tell me they're most excited about is stuff like cart abandonment. Because why the heck did a person leave the cart? Why did I lose you? What if you can have a printout knowing exactly what the person was thinking, step by step? Oh, now I know why the cart abandonment has happened. Now I can optimize that experience. So questions, but I'm building a platform and kind of like Stripe solved payments online. I'm building Smith.ai to help businesses get online with plugins. Now you can totally do it on your own. And if there's any takeaway from this presentation, like, you need one. Like, it's not an if. You need one. And you don't need to use Smith. You can delve into the code yourself and do it yourself. We're hoping to make it easy and save time and do analytics and stuff out of the box so that you'll save time. If you're an agency, your clients need one. And so I recommend you definitely look into it. There's an agency I co-founded and sold in 2021. I still am involved with that company as a visionary. And this is an enterprise level agency. If you're an enterprise company, you can talk to your own agency or to something like EduLabs to get help. And then the plugin I was talking about that's in the store is SEO.app. Cool domain. The feedback is overwhelming. It's really cool to see. And then yes, please follow me on LinkedIn and Twitter. I'm happy to be friends with all of you in the digital age. Follow me, ask me questions. Happy to be a resource and share with you guys what I'm learning as we're going through this. And then I've been dying for this little box here, this thing here, this Digimark one. I didn't know they had that, but it looked so cool. So I wanted to make sure I had a little bit of time left to toss this around. So I'm sure all of you are dying to ask a question. But if not, that's okay too. You can just ask me on LinkedIn later. Orange.
Nobody?
No. Well, I'm sure.
Who has questions, but they're really not sure what the question is?
No, it's early. It's early in the day. You can find me later, and we'll end the presentation here. Hope you learned something, and thank you for having me.